All right, let's move on to Summer House. We're gonna start with a Summer House headline. Tyler, if you can summarize this episode into a single attention-grabbing headline, what would that be?
Oh man, I mean, the only line that I wrote down here is "My dick's so dope, you don't even have to compare it," which doesn't have anything to do with the episode.
Stuff from Kyle. Yeah.
But really great quote. But I would probably say the headline, Lindsay, absolutely insufferable. Like, I don't, like, man, I don't know. I've never seen this show before, but wow. Like, I do not like her off the top. I think Carl is a great guy, and Lindsay is just, like, riding him and, like, cutting him off. Even that little conversation in the park, he makes a little offhand joke, and Lindsay just kind of like cuts him off, and he's like, "Sorry, it was a joke. It didn't land." And she was like, "No, it didn't." And then they're talking about planning a wedding. And then, of course, the final scene where Lindsay is hammered and she's just freaking out because she thinks Carl's on coke, and Carl's like, "I'm sober. Everyone knows I'm sober." And then the next morning when she sobers up, she doesn't just take the L and be like, "Sorry, I was a drunken lunatic." She doubles down and gives Carl more crap. So, like, as a true outsider of the Bravo universe, like, my first impression, Lindsay sucks.
Yeah, it's lightning in a bottle. It's amazing.
Well, it is amazing because the thing is, like, so I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm also an outsider to Summer House. I've never watched it before now, but like, there's been a lot of like goodwill, friendly vibes until Lindsay shows up. So when she shows up, it's kind of like, oh, great, we've got somebody who's just going to bring pure negativity. We needed that. So I'm glad to see somebody totally negative just get tossed into the group.
No, I'm like 100%. I mean it when I say, like, it's amazing. She is one of the best personalities on Bravo, in my opinion. She's definitely the best personality on Summer House out of the entire franchise history. I think, like, she just brings this like manic energy and negativity. It's brilliant to watch. She's
just a hostile presence.
Yeah. She is out of control and just cranks the tension in the house. And one thing that I have liked about the first 2 episodes of Summer House is that we have seen this contrast of what it's like when Lindsay's not in the house versus what it's like when she is, and just how it just amps up the energy when she's there. So, love to see it. And yeah, she is like pretty insufferable, but she needs to be. She's doing her job well.
100%. That's probably exactly what it is. What I was feeling when I was watching the episode, where I was like, "Shut up, Lindsay. Take it easy. What are you talking about?" Like, that is exactly what Lindsay's supposed to do, and she's crushing it, actually, because she really pissed me off. So,
what I really like about the argument that we have between Lindsay and Carl is that, like, the main argument, whatever happens, like, at the club, we don't actually see that, and I really enjoy that it's all about, like, the fallout and, like, reactions to it, with, like, the key event missing. I really enjoy that dynamic when it's just reacting to something we weren't there for. So, like, we don't really know who said what to whom. We don't know if Carl maybe was being a total dick to Lindsay. We weren't there. We don't know it. Presumably Carl was not actually doing drugs, but if he was, Lindsay has a point, right? Yeah. But we weren't there for, like, the key moments. We just have to, like, see what plays out after. Because if he wasn't doing drugs, she's being absolutely indefensible. Like for somebody who's, like, become sober to just, like, start accusing them of doing drugs when they have it is like a horrible thing to do. Like,
and Lindsay's like wasted. So I mean, like, Carl's just walking around sober, like, "Hello," and she's like, "Whoa, you're not like, are you on coke or something?" He's like, "No, I'm just not as hammered as you are, Lindsay. What do you want from me?" So I don't know. The
evidence is not good for Lindsay. Like, we see the text messages he sends, and they're, like, totally well written. Like, we hear him speak on the phone. He's, like, speaking very clearly. So, like, the evidence is not in Lindsay's favor here.
Yeah, her friend that was consoling her in bed was like, like hangs up the phone after the conversation. He's like, that sounded like a sober man.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I really loved, like you mentioned, Dylan, how this was like whatever actually happened off camera. Like we only get to see things from the perspective of the house, and this kind of goes into what I want to bring up in terms of the storytelling on Summer House. One thing that I think Summer House does well, or has done especially well this season, is the way that they use the space, or they show the space, and they show things like side by side happening simultaneously, and you get a real authorless sense of storytelling. You feel like you're just like passively watching on security cameras what is going on in this house. It reminds me of watching like Big Brother feeds and hopping around from like one spot to the next. You get a sense of like the geography of the space, and you get to like see where people are congregating, and the way that people are navigating the space and where they're coming together becomes part of like the storytelling and seeing the social dynamic. And we don't need to see the narrative really like spelt out to us in order to get a sense of what is going on when they tell a story this way. So I really love that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Anything else that stands out to you guys storytelling wise?
We did get some like good mirror shots too, when like when Kyle was talking. I think he was talking with Danielle, yeah. And we get like, there's like one shot in particular where Danielle is speaking, and we see Kyle responding to her as a mirror reflected behind her, so that they're like facing in opposite directions.
Oh yeah,
that was like some pretty clever filmmaking there. A bit of it's like the kind of thing you'd have in like a P.T. Anderson movie or something. It was like it was kind of neat. Yeah, just having it makes you really register the idea of like the listener absorbing what the speaker is saying. Instead of focusing on the speaker, you're focusing on the reaction from in this case, Danielle reacting to what Kyle's saying as he speaks. So just in terms of like a technique use, I really like that they took advantage of having a mirror in a room, which is usually, an issue, right? You have to work around mirrors. And in that scene, they came up with a clever way to incorporate the mirror into the scene.
Pretty deep shot, because I think 5 minutes earlier, he was pissing in a bush, crossing streams with the new guy. And I'm like, wow, that's
so great.
Great.
So I love Kyle right away. Like, this is, like I said, I'm a newbie to Summer House. I'm just coming into this without knowing anything about it. I'm also an outsider. I adore Kyle's like just like lovably stupid energy. Like he's just such a cute moron. I love how he's got that fucking giant Rasta banana that he got. He won at the carnival, and is just as attached to it as like a dog who got a new toy. Just wants to hold on to it and just do everything with it. Just like, I think I never really understood it when people like said like use that term like golden retriever boyfriend before, until like I saw Kyle. Like, okay, I see what they're talking about now. And there's a scene of him like just sitting in the room with like the projector spinning lights, and he's just sitting next to his Rasta banana, just like totally content to be sitting on a couch drunk next to his Rasta banana.
Me
that
and
he
my
loves.
banana. All right.
Yeah. but the prime moment of Kyle being an adorable dumbass was literally doing a pissing contest with Jesse Solomon. Doesn't he say something at the end like, I still got a little bit left? Or something?
Dude, my dick's so dope, you don't have to compare it.
I believe
you. Buddy! Look at you. You're like, I still got a little more.
Like weird flex, okay.
Longer stream, bro. Just saying.
Yeah.
But
That's great.
What was I think I missed this. Why was Amanda so pissed at him? He was talking shit about her or something like that. Because like she woke up that morning and she was in a mood.
Oh yeah. So she was like pissed that he was kind of just airing their dirty laundry. Like this argument that seems really central to what they're going through as a couple, and his like we've seen in past seasons where Kyle has like criticized Amanda for being like lazy or procrastinating and all this stuff, and it really bothers Amanda because it resonates, I think, and the fact that this is like now something that's impacting their like their journey to having a child, and the fact that Kyle's airing this out to other people and not like dealing with it with her, I think it just like completely set her off. But I do want to talk about Amanda here. She is someone that I think gets criticized a fair amount in the fan base as like not really bringing a lot to Summer House, and I need to stand up against that because I think that she's someone that I think of as being similar to Katie on Vanderpump Rules, where she's just this constant like presence that just makes things like kind of uneasy. Just her dynamic with Kyle and being like this wet blanket on him, who is really trying to always like do the heavy lifting of creating a party vibe in the house, and she's just always there to like rain on it. I think that is kind of a core piece of the Summer House puzzle. We need that dynamic between Kyle and Amanda. Otherwise, I feel like we'd be losing a lot of what makes the house work for reality TV. Let's get into highlights. Tyler, what were your highlights here?
Well, the Kyle pissing in a bush scene was lights out. It was really good. But I will say I did like I like the sports writer.
Wes, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got vibes with the one girl, and I kind of like to see how they're kind of, but not really, but sort of. They might, but they might not. You know, I kind of, that was kind of intriguing. Yeah. I'm like, I kind of want to see if they, if these two actually go the distance. So
it doesn't seem like it's going to happen anymore. Like it felt like it really. I was also really interested in that storyline too. Like that was really interesting because it felt like starting, especially carrying over from the first episode. Like it seemed like West was like was getting in. Like it was working. He's working his charm. He's working hard. You know, doing pretty much anything a miniature manlet of his stature can do. Until then first, Jesse Solomon shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh fuck, he's got fucking Wembenyama over here, just fucking like dominating everybody's attention. Yeah. And then I think where it really turned for him was when he had to ride the shark and was like, oh, I'm a Southern guy who knows horses. This is my turf. And it just like fell off right away.
Yeah.
And Ciara just like something changed. Like Ciara just like went from being like totally flirting with him to being like, yeah, I don't know, man. I thought it was like really brutal for him at the very end when like they're going to bed and she's like, she like, well, basically declines to sleep with him and then is going off to her bed and says, I'll think of you. Like that just seems like very brutal to just like, for somebody who you thought you were in with to just say, I'll think of you as they go off towards the room.
The line that hurt me.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. Just the line that hurt me as a comic was when she was like, he's funny, but I've had funny. I've hated funny. Okay, fine, you're funny. What else? And I'm like, oh shit, you gotta bring something else to the table. That's all I got. So like, okay, hang in there, Wes. You'll get her.
Dylan, how about you? What were your highlights here?
That was. I mean, we've covered the main ones. I do like. I loved like the dynamic between West and Jesse Solomon, which immediately just seems like a comparison between one guy who has to like put in so much effort to try to like come off as charming, and another guy who's just like, I'm tall and just can enhance him and can just enter the room and don't have to do anything. That was kind of a funny dynamic, and the idea that like they seem to be like becoming good friends too is also like kind of cute. It's interesting that Jesse Solomon reveals that he's a cancer survivor too and had to go through chemotherapy and everything. Because before that, he was kind of giving off the vibes of somebody who's like just coast through life without having any difficulties. Then it's like, okay, wait, we've assumed too quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy them together. Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting to know these characters. The definitely, this might seem like an obvious comment, but like the intelligence level seems to be a lot lower than on even most like Bravo shows. Like there's a lot of dumbasses here, which is fun.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how much like strategizing we're going to get out of these people. I don't know, Craig, you know more than I do. We'll see. Also, like, who is Paige's partner? Is that a character in the show?
Yeah, so
because she just speaks about him like he's like a mentally deficient child.
Yeah, so he is on another Bravo show, Southern Charm, and so he does make appearances on Summer House. But I do want to talk about Paige because she probably has the most like strategic mind out of any of the characters here.
Yeah, and that's kind of the vibe I got too.
I think like you mentioned, strategy is not something that we see a ton of on Summer House, so I don't feel like this is maybe it doesn't really serve her, and I don't think she's got a personality that's like a star personality. She can't like carry a show on her own. I think she realizes that, and that's why she has attached herself to Craig from Southern Charm, who also is debatably like doesn't have the same star power, but together their relationship has a lot of like cachet within the Bravo like universe. So I thought it was really interesting to see when like Jessie hit on Paige and she like the wall was immediately up and she was like shutting that down because she does not want anything like any spark of anything to seem like it's breaking through this relationship that is really serving her, especially with an unknown entity like Jessie Solomon, who like she has no idea how the fan base is going to react to him. Okay. One thing that is like a little bit of a contrast that we've seen on previous season was there was a character, Andrea, that was on Summer House that Paige was kind of like flirting with while she was with Craig, but the fan base really like took to Andrea. They really liked him. And so I think that like the strategic part of her saw that, you know, it's okay. It's not necessarily a like a step down. It's not going to put her in hot water if she just kind of playfully engages with some flirting and with Andrea.
Yeah. I also really liked her line when she was like, when she was saying to Kyle, like, I just got to know, like, when you're in bed with Amanda, like, does she pull your hair? Like, does she grab that mullet? And then she says, like, I've thought about that 4 times. Yeah. Just counting the number of times she thinks about Kyle's mullet in bed.
I think Paige is funny, but she really needs, like, someone with her in order to make her likable and to like bounce off of. I think like she's got the kind of personality where you know, or the sense of humor where it just helps to like riff with someone. So there was a character on Summer House, Hannah Berner or Hannah Bernier, I don't know how she pronounces it, but she's got a podcast with Paige, and like she's a stand-up comedian, and they've got like a really good back and forth and vibe together, and they've got a really popular podcast as a result. And I think Paige really took a hit when Hannah was not asked back to Summer House, because Hannah made Paige more likable and they were funny together. And you know, Hannah was also this like crazy manic toxic energy that stirred shit up, and I think that it just made Paige seem more stable as well. So I think that is what motivates her relationship with Craig a lot. Not to say that there isn't like true feelings there, but every scene that I've seen with Paige and Craig feels very like clinical. I don't see a ton of chemistry between the two of them, but that's just my take.
And is he actually a total fucking moron, or does she just talk about him that much?
Well, debatably. I think he's got his moments. I don't personally love him. I think that he plays the camera too much. That's my big criticism of him. He feels like very artificial in terms of how he navigates things, and it just like reads as inauthentic, and he tries to come across as like a very down to earth type guy that is like he's really trying to be a fan favorite, I feel like, and I feel like Paige is also really wants that as well, and I can feel the desperation on their relationship, and the energy is just like something that doesn't vibe with me. But he is like very well liked, and he is like not like a problematic figure. He's Craig. He's just a Craig.
Just your regular
some
Craig.
Great solidarity creeping in here.
Just another one of those solid Craigs.
Yeah. Big Craig vibes. I think we covered most of my highlights here as well. Did you guys have anything you wanted to circle back on before we get to our stars?
No. I mean, I just want to say that I think surf and turf is stupid because they're eating surf and turf. So I just wanted to voice my objection to that whole idea of a dish. It's never been made sense to me. It's just a stupid way to make a dish too expensive and have too much protein on it. So
I agree. And the way Carl brought it up was cool. He's like, surf and turf. Do you like meat? And I was like, it's a weird way to, I don't know. It's just a weird line. Do you like meat?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I'm more down with West's quesadillas that he made when he showed up than just showing up with a bunch of lobster and steaks. That's just me.
Awesome. Well, let's get to our stars for Summer House. Tyler, you want to lead us off? Who are your stars here?
Yeah, sure. Kyle, really likable. And I like West. West? Is it West?
It's West, I think,
okay.
With a T.
Cool. Yeah.
West would be too much of a name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like West. But I guess the star, now that we've covered her and that you guys have put her in the right context of what she's doing, I got to say Lindsay. I mean, she stole the show for me in that she really got me pissed off. She was the one character that had me going like, shut up, enough. But like, so yeah. Props to Lindsay. She's doing her job. Even her, like when West is like, hey, do you mind if I grab the fan out of the room? And she's like, well, isn't that like the hottest room? It's like, let the guy have the fan. Like, come on, man. So she's crushing it because I hate her.
Dylan, who are your stars?
You know what? Kyle's great. Let's give it to Kyle, and a joint first star for Kyle and his banana. They will. Well, I guess I could go two ways. We've talked about his dick too, so I will specify the stuffed Rasta banana. And let's go. Let's give a second star to West. He's been really entertaining, really interesting. It was such a great, I thought, image of the like vibe shift following Lindsay and Carl's arrival, when like you mentioned, like they have to switch rooms, but then we have that moment where like they immediately start arguing in the room. Lindsay and Kyle do, and West is like still there getting his stuff, and he like just like, and he's been like, he started out like just really succeeding with being like, oh, I've got the party vibes. I'm the funny man. Yeah. Like I know how to keep things light and entertaining. And then we just see him like awkwardly standing in the doorway with his like, colored party glasses and like party hat and holding like a bundle of like Hawaiian shirts or something, just like, oh, this is awkward. I'm just gonna awkwardly cart out my party vibes and just kind of sneak past you because that seems to be done now. That's my window of opportunity is closed. I can feel now that the whole vibe has changed now that you're here and there's like hostility in the house. That was a really good image to me. So let's give West number 2, and we'll give the third spot to Lindsay for changing the entire dynamic.
Yeah. So yeah, my number 1 star has to be Lindsay. Number 2 is going to be Amanda, underrated performer on Summer House. Don't at me, or actually do. That helps with the engagement. And number 3 is going to be Kyle because of all the reasons that you guys mentioned.